Our research target is to make a new style of eco-friendly membrane. The COVID-19 pandemic is a serious global health threat. Unpackaged food may increase the risk of virus transmission, so it is important. Food or food packaged by a membrane. There are two purposes in our research. Firstly, the eco-friendly plastic membrane meets in a metal chance. Secondly, the eco-friendly plastic membrane is able heat without food safety issues.
Is able to.
Our research, we separate our research into 4 parts. The first part is to make non-plastic wrap. After we find out the best ratio of every ingredient, we define our new eco-friendly non-plastic wrap. And then we test the property and the practical value of the wrap to prove that our eco-friendly non-plastic wrap can solve environmental problems and food safety problems. The first part is to make non-plastic wrap. First, we thought of glutinous rice because it is the Chinese traditional ingredients to make eatable membrane. But as you can see, glutinous rice film is easy to break, and it didn't have the flexibility that can be used to wrap plastic wrap. So we want to improve our glutinous rice film. We thought of the procedure of making bioplastic that use glycerin and acetic acid to improve cornstarch membrane. So we use acetic acid and glycerin to improve our glutinous rice film. As you can see, improved one have better flexibility, but it has poor transparency. So we thought of another ingredient, that is alginate. We thought that alginate can be used to make non-plastic straw. So we wanted to use alginate to make it into the membrane, but we faced a lot of difficulties. So we invent a new procedure to make our membrane. First, we fix the thickness of the paste into 1 millimeter high, and then we started to spray a calcium chloride solution on the surface of the paste. After remove our increased pad, we use hot air dryer to dry our paste into the membrane. Using this method, we make the alginate membrane. We can see that alginate membrane has better transparency than the glutinous rice film, but it still faces the problem of lack of flexibility. So we still use glycerin and acetic acid to improve our alginate membrane. We can see that the improved one has better flexibility and it has better transparency than the first one. It is more similar to the plastic wrap in markets. So how can glycerin and acetic acid impact on our membrane? The first one, we wanted to discuss the impact of glycerin on the paste viscosity. But as a result, we can see that it didn't have an obvious change. So after that, we make it into the membrane. We thought the membrane with 2 grams of glycerin is the best one because its adhesion and the transparency is the most similar to the plastic wrap in markets. The next one, we started to discuss the impact of acetic acid on paste viscosity. We can see that as the concentration of the acetic acid increased, the viscosity increased as well. After that, we make it into the membrane. When we add more acetic acid in the membrane, we can see that membrane has become stronger. So it shows that acetic acid can improve the strength of the membrane.
In that experiment, we discussed whether acetic acid and glycerin influence on paste viscosity and membrane. As a result, the more we set 2 grams glycerin as a fixed parameter and regulated concentrations of acetic acid. As a result, the more acetic acid we added, the higher the paste viscosity was and showed an obvious increase. But the bubbles also increased. The strength of the membrane increased as well. Because 1% because the membrane added 1.5 acetic acid was much similar to commercial plastic wraps that only added 2 grams glycerin. And also in the process, the bubbles was easier to eliminate than those. So we defined the membrane added 1.5 acetic acid, 2 grams glycerin, and 2% elgin as eco-friendly non-plastic wrap. Next, we did the physical properties test to see whether it had commercial potential and compare with other plastic wraps. As a result, the opacity of our wrap was higher than other plastic wraps, but with naked eye it still could be seen clearly. According to CNS method, we made a physical property meter and did the punctual strength test and tensile strength test. Low P plastic wrap was common to see in the market, but the results showed that the punctual strength of our wrap was higher than PE plastic wrap. Next, the tensile strength of our wrap was weaker than commercial plastic wraps, but the strength length among those wasn't significantly different. We followed by CNS method and did the heat resistance test. As a result, when the temperature reached to 130 Celsius, the membrane still didn't break, but I just presented color difference. But since it was made by natural ingredients, it wouldn't cause food safety problems. In the physical properties test, we could prove that eco-friendly non-plastic wrap had reached initial market value. So we did the practical test next. We could see that our eco-friendly non-plastic wrap had good food and had good visual packaging and cold storage effects because that the fruit covered with it could still be seen clearly, and the vegetables covered with it in a refrigerator wouldn't shrink, unlike that didn't cover. While we did the microwave and steaming test. In our lab, there are chicken stew and meal boxes covered with plastic wraps. They may release plasticizers through heating them, but as our wrap was heated, it would not release plasticizers, and the appearance was still complete. So we proved that it could solve the food safety problems. Next, it also had the good storage ability. The water content and water activity of it will decrease through time passed, and the water activity will less than 0.6 prevented the growth of microorganisms. While we did the corruptibility test, we wanted to see whether it was eco-friendly. The results was satisfied because in unburied and buried tests, the eco-friendly non-plastic wrap could not be seen after 21 days, while commercial plastic wraps still had the complete appearance. So we could prove that eco-friendly non-plastic wrap was an eco-friendly product. Our research showed that it is successfully producing an innovative process and micro spraying technique. Our wrap could solve the food safety problems. Even more, it was eco-friendly to the environment.